And that's us.
All right, wonderful. Welcome back, everyone, to Clown to Clown. I
Welcome,
hope you enjoyed last episode, and we're on
Mm.
camera again, so this is good. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue this. Hopefully, you enjoyed the shorts as well. Put up some shorts. I know some of them were a little controversial, but you know,
That's how we like it.
Controversial.
but you know,
Yeah.
it's good. Good to get.
Hopefully everyone's having a good week so far.
How are you guys doing? Drop it down below in the
Yeah.
comments. How's your week been?
and the one person who will actually follow up
If you're having a great week, leave a comment, like, subscribe.
and share with all your
If
friends.
you're having a terrible week,
Leave a comment.
subscribe, subscribe, leave a comment.
Let us know. We'll respond.
again.
Okay. We're not popular yet, so we can respond to every
buy us
comment.
a sub bot
Yeah, definitely.
if you're feeling that good about yourself or bad.
And you know, if you really like us, turn off your ad blocker for us.
You know, actually, I
Right.
used to do that for YouTubers I liked.
Really?
Yeah, I genuinely used to turn
That's
off my ad
hilarious.
blocker for them.
That's
It's like-
crazy.
Owning slaves and picking cotton for them.
You know what?
Oh
you know
my
what? You
God.
go ahead and take a 30-minute break. I'll
For
get
real,
the rest of this card.
It's like, you know what? Just for you, you're my favorite. I'm gonna do some work for you.
Yo, that's crazy.
Nah, I remember.
I just don't skip the
Yeah.
ads. Like when I like
Yeah.
if I'm like watching somebody cool, I'll just like let the 3-minute ad play and walk away.
30-minute?
3.
Oh, okay.
You know, like the long
Yeah.
like.
A sec. No, I get them like, it was called like V-Shred thing,
How do you even
where it'd be
upload-
like, it was like a half-hour infomercial.
How do you even do that? Like
I don't
half
know,
an
man.
hour ad.
It's crazy.
I see them, but I don't
Yeah,
know how they
no.
exist.
But it,
Huh?
anyway. So what do we guys want to start with?
I don't know. I was gonna say something light and just talk about our week, but no one cares about that. So.
No one cares about that.
Um,
You want to give your PSA
oh, yeah,
for?
so my PSA. So all right, y'all listen. If you drive, if you aren't old enough to drive yet, if you don't drive yet, you shouldn't be listening to us. I'm just gonna say that up
Oh,
front.
man.
No, that's a joke. Please listen to us. We're desperate for your followers. Anyways, so no, if you drive, especially in the state of Florida, we should address right now that the left lane in any 2-lane road is for passing.
Just any
Slow
road.
traffic
generally.
should keep right. So if you're not passing anybody actively, you should be in the right lane so that other people can pass you. Because, you know, maybe you're going the speed limit. Maybe you're going 10 miles over the speed limit. I'm trying to commit a felony, so you need to get out of my way. So, in a 3-lane road, slowest traffic is on the far right lane. The speed limit maybe 10 above is in the middle lane. The far left lane, the 3-lane road, is the fast lane. You're being passed at 150 mile per hour. It's gone.
That's that.
Don't
That's
Well,
think
you
about
know, I think it's also important to recognize that they're passing lanes. So once you pass all the people on your right side,
Yeah.
you should move over to allow people to pass you.
Yeah, if there's no one
Because
on
even
your
though
right,
you're going
then-
fast, there's always, people who might be going faster.
Sure.
And the same applies to 4, 5, and 6 and plus.
Yeah.
It's how they do it in
Autobahn.
Autobahn, yeah.
But-
Because that's why they don't have speed limits there.
But yeah, if there's no one on your right and you're driving down the road and you're not making a left turn immediately, you should be in the right lane. Get out of my way.
Anyway, I
I just
thought,
wanted to get that out of the way because
yeah, it's not that
on my chest.
I feel like it's not taught in any driving schools or
No,
anywhere
not at
really,
all.
because the test that I took, the actual written and the driving, like with the instructor next to you, nothing about highway driving or driving etiquette in general is
Yeah.
covered.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. So
I think the only thing they tell you is
it's important to
don't stick your middle finger out the window, but you can do that anyway.
they
No,
tell you that?
no, he didn't even tell me that.
Oh, he didn't?
No,
I don't think so,
Dang.
no.
Well, that's good advice. You probably get followed home.
I
not
deserve it
Ja-
sometimes.
I think it depends on where you at.
No,
I
remember
think it depends
James?
on
After he did it,
who.
he got cut.
Yeah, that's true.
That was funny.
I got vandalized.
Now that was recognizing a story from a previous episode, so you guys can go check that out.
Yeah. What episode?
It was in
that?
episode 6.
Was it 6?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Where are we on?
I
What
know
is
the
this?
episodes.
This
8?
is episode 9.
9. Yeah, because 8 was the last one.
Coming up on
No, it was
big
the one with
1-0.
the guest clown
guest clown.
story.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I wasn't even here for that. I gotta go
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
that one.
You should watch it. So anyway,
But
what else is going on, guys?
yeah. So yeah. What y'all have on your mind?
You can go first. Tell us.
Dang it. I'm thinking.
What you
Dang
got?
it. All right. Well, I'll go ahead of you. Tell us. I guess I wanted to talk about open-mindedness,
Open-mindedness.
because I think there's a lot of people who their first instinct is to go and point a finger at someone else,
Mm-hmm.
right? So someone will give an opinion, or someone will say something, and the first thought is, "You're wrong, and I'm going to tell you you're wrong," or
Oh, I think I've seen what you're talking about. Yeah.
and it happens with it happens in my experience with anyone from, like, it doesn't matter the age. It's a cognitive error, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's like,
I don't know. And I don't think many people recognize it, or at least people recognize it, but people don't talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's you never want to limit yourself information, right? So let's say you're having an argument with someone, right? And you don't listen to anything they're saying because you're like, I'm right. They're trying to tell me the earth is flat. I'm not going to listen to anything they're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could be saying something with validity, and because you don't want to listen to what they got to say, you're not even going to, you're not going to consume that information. And it may be
Right,
something
yeah.
that you didn't already know. And it also could be something that will prove your point correct.
Most
know what I'm
definitely. Yeah.
So it's like, you kind of gotta, I don't know, like, you can take what some people say with, a grain of salt, but you also have to,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
It's an argument, not a tell you, man. So,
Yeah, and I think
Mm.
people, yeah. Well, James, do you have any ideas on it?
I mean, yeah, it just seems like, especially with arguments, for example, not almost all the time, a lot of the time, neither one of you is right per se. Like, you have two different perspectives.
Mhm.
Like, I saw a image that said, like, it was like casting a shadow from this direction. It was this object, right? And it was casting a shadow from this direction, and that shadow was a square.
Mhm.
It was like a cylinder, right? So that direction was a square. Casting a shadow that direction is a circle.
Mhm.
So both of those shadows are true. They're not lies. They're both true.
yeah.
But neither one of them are the truth. So, like, in an argument, for example, both of you could be correct,
Mhm.
and both of you will definitely have aspects of the correct answer. Not definitely. If you're a rational person, you'll both have aspects of the right answer
Yeah.
in your beliefs.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the time, if you don't even consider the other person's opinion, then you're going to be more wrong than you were before,
Yeah.
because you were offered the ability to have the right answer be found,
Mhm.
have the conflict resolved, whatever it is, but you rejected it. So now you're more wrong than you were before you started.
Especially like, we can talk about it in the sense of, if you're in a position of power,
Yeah.
or like, not power is weird, leadership,
Yeah.
and
That's what I-
someone that you have leadership over is trying to, like, explain something to you or tell you something, you can't just, no matter how you think of them or how you view them, you can't just, like, write off whatever they're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Because,
It's
Yeah.
inefficient. That actually reminds me. There was, in the Revolution, the American Revolution.
Mhm.
I wish I remembered the specifics of the story, but George Washington was planning to do something against the British,
Mhm.
right? And I believe one of his lowers in command told him, like, "Oh, this is not a good idea. We should do something else," right?
Mhm.
Or something similar, right? He had someone below him suggest to do something else. But George Washington, being the leader that he was, he heard him out, and he was like, "You know what? You're right. You made a fair point."
Yeah.
And they decided to do something else, and it was the perfect decision because they
Mm.
avoided getting beat up by the Brits, right? So anyway, I also want to recognize stereotypes, 'cause I know a lot of people they kind of rely on stereotypes too much, but I know it's a very popular thing to say.
Sorry, my bad. I'm pointing
Anyway,
fingers.
I know it's hey, I know it's a popular thing for people to say, because this is nothing new, right? People say this.
True.
It's popular for people to say, "Oh, stereotypes are bad and you should never use them." But I think they can be used as a tool when used correctly, because if you recognize where a stereotype is coming from,
Mhm.
because I think a lot of stereotypes, they at least have a grain of truth from the person's perspective
Yeah.
who came up with it,
Yeah.
right? So I think you can use stereotypes as a tool
Mhm.
to help you figure out a person or a situation, but it takes a lot of mindfulness.
I understand what you're saying.
And I don't think people apply the mindfulness, or at least they tell themselves they're applying the mindfulness
Yeah.
when they aren't,
Yeah.
or not properly. I should say they aren't doing it to an adequate level.
So is it like, okay, so how they say, black people are ratchet and show no respect or whatever, right? And
I think that's
that
just
comes
racist.
from,
I think that's just racist.
Well, it is a racist stereotype. I mean, obviously,
Mhm.
Sorry, continue.
Oh, I was gonna say that statement comes from someone who has observed certain traits on, an African American person, and if you understand, like, okay, they believe those things because they were doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
So now you've come into encounter with a black person, and you see them do X, Y, and Z, and then they produce those traits. But then you come in encounter with a different black person, and they don't produce X, Y, and Z, and they don't produce those traits. So because you understand where it's coming from, you can see, like, how do I say it, the hints, or so, like, for example, if you're trying to hire them, if you see those red flags, then you're like, okay, I don't want this person in my business.
I see.
Even if you see the same red flags in a white person, or
Yeah.
it's
it's trying to look for the signals of
Yeah.
the bad traits instead of just applying the bad traits over everything.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, that's true.
Yeah. Open-mindedness is good.
But
Makes the world go round.
yeah, I know it's really just basic thing to say. Oh, everyone should be open-minded, but
Yeah. It's the application part that's really tough.
Yeah.
and it's
'Cause,
really,
like,
in my opinion. I mean, I'm 17.
It especially comes into play with, like, there are some things, like my view on certain political topics that are currently hot in the nation. I have an opinion, and I've done lots of research to form that opinion.
Mhm.
And while I'm not gonna ignore what you say, there's a 95.6% chance I'm not gonna change my mind based on what you say.
You know what's weird?
Because, like, that's just something, like, even if there's not much of a rationale behind it, at the end of the day, there's some values that I just hold morally dearly, and it, like, at the end of the day, even if you have the most irrational argument ever, my mind is not open to changing my views on that simply because you have a rational argument. Like,
Mhm.
there are some things that just emotionally are worth more to me than other things.
Right, but you're not talking about a specific topic or some issue. You're talking about keystone values.
Yeah.
Like, that is something totally different.
Yeah.
So, and I think even then, that's something that would take tremendous amount of time to change.
Sure.
It's
yeah.
not, this rational argument was great. You're right. Because that's also another thing you have to recognize. It's like, for example, in passing, right? Someone might mention something to me, right? And then I'll just mull over that, right?
Yeah.
For a while. And then eventually, because it takes time to, assimilate, right?
Yeah.
It takes time to assimilate new information,
Mhm.
right? Like, for example, toddlers, right? A lot of them, as they're developing,
Yeah.
they'll make recognitions with objects, right? And they'll give those object names,
Yeah.
right? But then once they what's it called? When they over apply a word over something else?
Overgeneralization.
Yeah, once they overgeneralize, right, and they're corrected, they need to assimilate that new knowledge, right? And that takes time because you're putting what you believe the world to be up against what the world actually is,
Yeah.
and you're integrating that. And I think that's something that should be recognized, because I used to think, I presented a perfect point, right? Why don't people just instantly accommodate or assimilate that into themselves,
Yeah.
right? But then I noticed myself, when people provide perfect points,
Yeah.
it still takes time for me to assimilate, because you also have to take in mind, people have to deal with their ego, right? Dealing with the ego is important whenever you're assimilating
Right,
new
yeah.
knowledge, because you have to realize that you have to take in that you're wrong, right? And that is difficult, I think, for anyone.
Yeah.
And then actually getting yourself to start thinking in that way, depending on how big it is, of course,
Right.
takes
yeah.
time.
Yeah. No, I just want to acknowledge, like, they're your core values. You don't have to change your core values based on someone else's will, but you can
Yeah.
still take those core values and apply it to their new knowledge, because at the end of the day, you're not going to have the same knowledge that they do.
Mhm.
So there's always something to be gained from a conversation, even if you're talking to the stupidest person you've ever met.
Literally, you could
Like-
literally learn anything from anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. I'm sure Socrates has some shit he said about like the only time you can't gain something from a statement someone has made is when you don't listen or something like that. You know?
Yeah, Socrates has
I'm
definitely
like-
said something about.
You know.
There are some times where like somebody would say something, and I will come to a realization because of like, it's not what they meant to do. It's just they said something in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and it,
probed you in the right
and
way.
it like clicked in my brain.
Yeah.
He said probes you in the right way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Ain't nothing ever probed me in the right
All
way.
bro. That's not what I meant.
mean,
Come
you're
on.
on
You ever
40
been
yet,
probed in the
so-
right way?
Bro, stop it. Stop, bro.
You aren't 40 yet, so I mean,
Yeah.
Stop.
Anyways,
is that true?
What?
Do we really got to get probed at 40?
I thought it was before that.
Before
To
that,
be honest, yeah.
What are you guys talking about?
you got to get checked for what is it?
Prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer. Yeah.
Before 40?
I've never heard of a prostate exam. Your parents are doctors. You haven't ever mentioned a prostate exam.
Never in my life.
They don't want to scare
Well,
you.
Never in my life, actually.
You've been sheltered.
I've been sheltered.
Well, the roof has been ripped off your shelter.
That's what they say to the Americans when they're born.
Oh my god, bro.
All right, I'm sorry.
Anyways, yeah, that was a good one.
No, we need more of
Yeah.
those.
No, that's wild.
So yeah, yeah, stay open-minded, for sure.
I saw a podcast yesterday.
That's
and
crazy.
It's just like, okay, so it was one of those podcasts where like there's dudes and then they bring on women, and
Oh.
I think I've seen the
You
same
know what
clip.
I'm
You're
talking
I'm
about?
sure I've seen the same clip you're talking about.
and he's just straight up disrespecting the girls,
What?
In what way?
like calling them out of their names. Like they'll start to speak, and he's like, "Shut up, you." You know what I'm saying? I don't understand where that comes from. Like
But what
Yeah.
was he going on about?
it was just like there was one point where he was like, "You need to respect me," and
Oh, because he was like, "You're on my show." Yeah, like, who put you on my? Yeah, I've
Are we-
seen. I've
are we
seen what
talking
you're talking
about-
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
that it. I can't like I couldn't understand it yesterday, and I still kind of don't understand it now. I don't know where it comes from. How do you even get like that?
See, because I think I know earlier, like just before that clip, I had seen another one that showed a little bit extended cut of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had asked her like, you know, like who show you on, and she was like, "It's my show," and he was like, "No, you're on my show. You need to shut up because I'm telling you, you're on my show."
Mm-hmm.
Because she tried to say that it was her show for some
Mhm.
reason. I don't even know how you get to that point,
She probably
but
was just busting his chops or whatever.
but I don't know. It like I understand getting angry or something like that, but
It's just weird.
it seemed like it went too far for sure.
he was like, I guess he was serious, like trying to be serious, but like you
Yeah.
can't even take him serious. Like,
Yeah, that's one of those moments you cut out in post,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm surprised they left that in.
right?
That's,
Well, they were live streaming.
they were live.
Oh.
Bro. Then come on, that's just a lack of
Wow.
self-control. You wonder how bad he must be behind the cameras then,
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
Because I mean, in front, you're being live streamed,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I
and,
can't-
and I mean it
Dude.
continued for a period of time, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
immediate.
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
even like a
It
reaction.
seemed-
Like remember PewDiePie? He said the N-word on the bridge,
yeah.
right? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
You remember he's playing PUBG and he called a guy an effing N-word, right? Total reaction,
I've seen the clip. It's a
Right.
pretty good clip.
Wow.
right? So anyway,
How many subs you got for that?
that's
My
More than
bad.
T series.
but that was like a reaction,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like something was happening to him in the moment. The
wasn't-
emotions were high.
it wasn't premeditated.
right. That but to
On
disrespect
this
someone,
time on
keep
the stream,
going.
I'm gonna say this. Nah, I'm playing.
I don't know. To keep going, that's
Yeah,
it blows
like, I
my
don't know.
mind.
A reaction is one thing, but if you continue,
I can't even like
This is
hang
wrong.
around people like that.
no.
Like there
Nah.
are some people who are so like, because I think I'm a pretty sporadic person. but there's some people who are so random and like so out there that I just don't want to associate myself with them. Like,
yeah,
like we'll be with girls and they're just like wilding, and I'm like, bro,
yeah,
nah,
yeah,
nah.
yeah.
Like it's crazy. I don't get it. I don't know where it comes from.
I think
guess
it's
just
a
like,
lack immaturity, lack of
Yeah.
self-control. Right? What do you think?
I'd have to ponder that for
And
a while.
also self-righteousness. This is like my gut thoughts, right? And just reaction.
Yeah.
Because it sounds a lot like potential self-righteousness, right? So definitely a lot of cognitive errors, I think, you know.
yeah. I think we need more
For-
fathers in the households.
Fathers, you think that happens because there's not good fathers?
Yeah.
I think parenting as a whole is fallen. I don't want to go too far down.
Yeah, I
that
try
rabbit
to
hole.
avoid it, but
No,
Yeah.
it's the same thing we talked about last time. I don't know if it's gone farther down the hole, but it's the same level of, I guess, what do you call not quality?
I think it's just
The same level of
Bad.
no, that's terrible. You need to use better
Um,
words than bad.
I think the way, like, socially, the way we operate within, like, the parent and children, like, it should have changed, and I feel like we're trying to keep it the same, because we're to a point where a lot of parents don't know as much as, like, the kids don't know,
Yeah.
and there's this facade of, you know, we're all high and mighty or whatever, but it's just, like, the parents are just as lost as the kids,
Yeah.
and I think we should, like, make that be known, you know, instead of
Yeah.
trying to hide it, because now you have your kid in the dark and they're like, it's blind following the blind when we can both be
Right.
blind
yeah.
together trying to find a light.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's not that like parenting has gotten worse per se as society views it, like as a
Mhm.
whole. Like there aren't more bad parents. I just feel like what society allows as good parenting anymore has totally fallen. You know,
Mhm.
like I don't know, like I don't have a good example. Like parents that do everything for their kid, like helicopter parents, for example.
Yeah, we talked about the same thing last
Yeah.
time.
But I feel like that's gotten a whole lot more acceptable than it used to be.
I think there's
And
more
it's-
single parent households, and
Think
that's
so?
more acceptable.
Probably, definitely.
Definitely. And I think
definitely.
I know for me one of the things that was really helpful for me when I was getting into philosophy and, you know, deep theory
Mhm.
was having my parents here with me, because when you're able to compare yourself to your parents, right?
Yeah.
And you can see how both of them, like what traits you have from them and what traits you have from your grandparents even,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it just really helps you develop your understanding of, at least my understanding of the mind and
Yeah.
the world in general, because it's just ideal. I feel like it might be a terrible explanation, but it just feels natural,
Yeah.
right? To be in an isolated situation, it's like you're adding more variables to the equation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then to a certain point, it becomes almost impossible to solve without other equations to help you.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I know there's been lots of studies done on how like childhood stress, just like the presence of stress in a household when you're a child, how it affects your brain development and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like it physically alters how your brain forms.
Right. I mean,
so I
yeah.
think we're starting to see like the effects of that.
I think it's like a domino effect, because
Right.
you know, we talk about the deficiencies. That's it, the deficiencies.
Deficiencies.
The deficiencies of parents over time, because, you know, if one generation produces excellent kids, right, and then those kids are slightly worse parents, right?
Yeah.
Over time, that domino effect,
There's a
you'll
negative
see
feedback
it.
loop.
Yeah, it's a negative feedback loop, and then on top of that, you see how much society has changed, and that it's I think it's the most important it's ever been for parents to provide a good foundation for their kids,
Mhm.
For sure.
right? Especially when, you know, there's technology in the household where you can go anywhere, and then with VR and all that stuff that's coming out,
And where there's so much information being thrown at you 24/7.
there,
And it's-
right, and there's so much information, you really need a solid
You
foundation.
have to stand your ground.
It's deeper than economics, and like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you like you definitely have to understand a lot, and it's more than just having money, because like you could be broke, but if you raise your children in the right way,
Sure.
they'll understand that. Like they'll be able to like recognize, okay, yeah, I get this.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and they won't grow up to be, you know, angry at the world or
Yeah.
you know, but a lot of the times, you know, poor parents are usually not as engaged, so you know it's harder to
Yeah.
do that. But yeah, it's not all about the financials,
Not at all. No.
because if you know what you're doing, then you know what you're doing.
Poor is a mindset.
No, yeah.
You can have no money and have the richest lifestyle of anyone because like the people you're surrounded
It's
with.
just what you value.
It's really just values and people
It's
play a huge
quite
role in
literally
it.
all in your head. It's
Well, I
crazy.
think, what if you have $0, like nothing? You're homeless
I
on
mean,
the street.
that's all in your head. Like
You've seen them happy homeless people though, right?
you only value.
All right, but
You've
like,
seen them guys that are,
I'm
like,
just
out
trying to
there,
say,
just chilling.
it's pretty crazy to say it's all in your head. I
It's
mean,
not
if,
all in your head, but most of it is.
I think your inability to succeed is in your head.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it depends though, because what if you're disabled?
Nah, they're handy capable.
All right,
Mhm.
handy capable.
Disabled is a dirty word. You
Disabled.
can't say that anymore.
This
You
guy.
can't say disabled.
Nope.
What? When does this
Handy
happen? What?
capable.
If you're not able to walk, you are disabled.
No, you're not disabled. You're handicapped.
All right, let's move away from this.
You're a
You're confusing
handicapped
me.
person. A person with a disability. You're not disabled. You're a person with a disability.
Oh, handicapped. Cause like, their hand is like reaching and it's like capped off because they don't have one.
Oh my god, bro! Stop. All right. Anyway, guys.
Like,
Wow.
it was bad. It was bad. It was
Wow.
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
Yikes.
I regret my decision.
Yeah.
what were we talking about before this?
Um.
Parenting.
Yeah,
Well,
parenting.
we should
Yeah.
switch it up.
Switch
Yeah.
it up.
So okay. So something I really want to talk about in this episode. Because I want to be able to be more vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
on the pod, right? So kind of getting into vulnerability with men, because I know more and more over time there's been sort of two forces, right? There's the people that are like, you know, men should be the providers, you know, and if I'm primarily, from what I've seen, primarily women talking about like toxic masculinity and you know, there's one school of thought that says, you know, men should pay the bill, men should take care of their family, they should be the breadwinner, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
and they should be strong and they should be your rock, and that's their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more conservative value, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the newer school of thought that seems to be coming up is, you know, it's okay for men to be softer, it's okay for men to have emotions, and they're people too, et cetera, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost, at the risk of sounding like a incel or whatever, it's almost like emasculating men, not emasculating men, almost, to a degree.
It's-
So I wanted to ask y'all, like, what do you think about like men crying, for example?
I think.
Like, would you cry in public?
Would I? No.
What's
I
considered,
don't think I could even cry. In
what's
general.
considered public?
I think it would take a lot.
Like in front of people you don't know?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't care. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think. Well, I for me, I don't think I could cry even in general. At least it was something crazy would have to happen.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on crazy?
Crazy meaning my parents die,
Oh,
or my brother,
that's
or
pretty crazy.
you know, close friends,
Yeah.
something like that. Like even my dog. No, I don't think I would cry.
Have you all ever cried in public?
When I was little, yeah, that's different.
I mean, at some point, yeah.
My last time was,
Was it?
You said it for theater.
I think it was earlier this year, actually.
Yeah,
It was when I won
most definitely.
the award at districts.
No, you said you cried after the theater show.
That wasn't in public. I knew all of them. I knew everybody.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about
It was backstage. It was backstage.
Oh, okay. In my head, I was like, you're on the.
Oh nah. Well, I was crying on stage, but they thought I was acting. So
All right, that's
But,
different. That's different.
yeah,
So yeah, on that note, when was the last time y'all cried?
the show. Yeah,
The show.
so it was like 2 months ago.
Genuinely
Was it?
cried, and it's
Was that a month or 2 months ago?
1 month. 1 month. Yeah, because beginning of the last month.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, several years.
Yeah.
I don't recall exact date. It's been a while.
How you don't remember?
I
thought you remember being spoon fed.
Yeah, but generally for me, I look at crying as weak.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't cry. I get up and I deal with my problems.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I got up and I dealt with my problems, and I
Yeah.
deleted my thoughts of me crying, or my
So-
memories.
So what do y'all think? Y'all think which side of the line y'all fall on? Do you think men should be more vulnerable than they have been before, or do you think it's men's job to be the Rock
I think
Johnson?
I'll go first, I guess. I think that whenever you look at two schools of thoughts, because everything in the world, I think, generally falls on like a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
I think you can simplify that, at least for this case, into a spectrum.
Yeah.
So with that, whenever you look at two schools of thought, I keep in mind that they are not perfect,
Mhm.
right? They are inherently imperfect, I think. So that means that there must be some point of balance in there,
Sure.
right? So going with the conservative viewpoint, I think we are human, and what is beautiful about humanity and what about humanity is that we have emotions, right? And that we can express those emotions.
Mhm.
So I think that it's perfectly fine for a man to cry. I mean, I know I can't think of any examples right now, but yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. But at the same time, on the more liberal side, it's important to recognize in regards to men should be able to cry and in public and all that. I think obviously they should be able to. I mean, what kind of society would not allow that?
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's important to recognize what men are inherently best at.
Yeah.
Generally, because I know you're gonna have more feminine men and more masculine women,
Sure.
right? But generally speaking, I think it's more ideal for a man to try to fix what's happening or try to. I'm struggling to find the words for it, but just to use his traits, what naturally
Yeah.
he's best at to solve or to get through whatever's happening.
Yeah.
And, crying can be a part of that, of course. Because if you think about them as tools to help you achieve whatever, right? Which might sound weird,
Yeah.
but crying, I mean, there's no downside to it, I think, when it's used properly. But
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, that was a long
Soapbox.
little monologue.
Okay. So
Your
mine.
thoughts?
I'm gonna talk through it. So, when I was younger, of course, I cried, like it's like elementary
You
school
baby.
or whatever. And then
Ooh,
I would
it's
say
baby
around
legend.
middle school is when I started like, oh, it's time for me to grow up arc. So like sold all my toys and like,
Oh hell yeah.
So I did like the thing. I kind of stopped crying in middle school, and then when I got to high school, like my freshman year, I mean, I didn't, why? What would I have a reason to cry for? And then I would say my sophomore year, I started to make new friends, build relationships, and I was trying to be more vulnerable. And so yeah, I like the past 3 years, I feel like I've been crying more and expressing my emotions, but I've kind of made a shift recently because I feel as if I've noticed actually around those people that I am vulnerable with, there is a lack of respect towards me,
Yeah.
and I don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I've been dialing it back, and I'm a very extreme person. I am either one or the other, and I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. But So I kind of just haven't been able to react to things lately.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point with self-expression, because you have to recognize how you're going to come off to people,
Mm.
because that's in your control,
Yeah.
right? So in terms of crying in public, you have to recognize what people are naturally going to look at you as, right? And there are there are obviously extreme cases, but generally speaking, if you cry in public, you're going to be looked at as, maybe soft, or you can be walked over,
Yeah.
right? Even though, I think I'm a pretty emotional person. But if you notice, you guys know me for a while,
Yeah.
I never express them in public, or
Mhm.
even with friends, right? They're only for me.
Yeah, but you're an emotional person. I've never.
No, they're
never observed
only
that.
I
Basketball.
I keep them for I keep them out of the eye of really anyone in public, because that's just how I want it to come off
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, not to talk for too much, but it's important to recognize how you'll come off and
Yeah.
what
And
you can change to express yourself better.
I don't think where I'm at right now is a good spot, because like before, like when I first did it, like in middle school or like my 9th grade year, it would be like I would like take my emotions and like tuck them or whatever, and then I would have these moments where I'm like super emotional, and it's just like I'm like, I can't control myself or whatever,
Yeah.
and that's really bad. So it's like I doubt that's gonna happen now, because I kind of I'm trying to balance it out, and I do what I need when I need to. So and I have a lot of self control now, so
Yeah.
I think I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, balance is key to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what Aristotle talked about in Golden Mean, in my opinion, the all-time great philosopher.
Yeah.
It's you can debate
Aristotle?
it, but yeah, I think he's the best in my opinion.
I gotta read some of his stuff.
Mm.
I'm a big fan, at least. Anyway, James, what are your thoughts on it? You are the one who brought it up.
I mean, so I have come to have more conservative values with it, because I think the job of men, we're biologically predispositioned to being more logical, to being less emotional, etc. And we're traditionally, the defenders, the builders, the conquerors, the fighters, whatever, So men have been given the role, and I mean, not just by society, biologically, we're better for the role of those tasks, more masculine considered tasks. So the other aspect of that for me is there's a lot of honor involved with it. A lot of men, from my experiences, value honor, loyalty, things like that, right? So to me, like with crying, for example, I would never cry in front of people that I've never met before. I just wouldn't let myself. I'm not predispositioned to crying very much to begin with. I'm not a big crier. But I think that's just how a lot of men are. It's not something. It's like vocab, sort of. If it's not something that you were ever sort of taught or encouraged to do, then it's just not in your emotional vocab. It's like that's not even a valid response for me.
Yeah.
So like Ethan was saying, if my parents died tomorrow, or if when you got hit by a car tomorrow, I'd probably cry.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it in front of people that I've never met before.
I kind of just, for an example, like I said in the past couple of years, I haven't been doing this in front of people.
Yeah.
Like, I'll feel the emotions, and then like I'll like stone face, and then I'll walk away. Like, and as soon as I turn the corner, boom.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, I think it's an important skill for men to have as men, to be able to have mastery over your emotions, because as
Well, I think you can say that for both the
the-
genders, though.
to a degree, but I
mean,
think
you
for
have
women
to know
it's
how
a
to
whole
utilize it.
lot. It's a
It's
much
different.
lesser degree,
It's different.
because women are biologically more emotional. They have a thicker corpus callosum. They're more in touch with their right brain. They're more emotional.
So they probably
beings.
would need to master their emotions more because they have so much more emotion.
No, my point is it's like optimizing. You know what I mean? You need to know how to use what you have, regardless of how different you might need to use it compared to someone else.
Yeah, I don't know. My
I'm
thing
just
is-
trying to say you should be careful with saying that men need to master their emotions and women don't, because it's important to recognize both need to be able to utilize them.
Right. There
for
are
their
times,
purposes.
There are times when both men and women should and shouldn't have control of their emotions. Right. If you just won the lottery, then it's probably okay for a man or a woman to let loose a little bit.
But that's
there's
still
stuff like that,
that's still
so-
control though.
But-
It's like when you're driving a car and you let go of the brakes, you're still in control of the brakes, but
Yes.
they're not being used.
I think is what you're saying is dangerous because you're encouraging that if like a girl gets mad or if a woman gets angry or whatever and they hit a guy or if they like start screaming, they're like, oh well, I'm just a girl. You're encouraging that.
Your actions are different. Everyone should have control of their actions.
Well,
But that's the same thing.
their thing is those actions come from my emotions, and if I was able to control my emotions, then I wouldn't have done those actions. But I'm just a girl, so
I think it's okay for women to be more emotional.
yeah.
Of course, everyone should be in control of it.
Mhm.
At some point, because that's what maturity is.
Mhm.
But I feel like I personally believe that as men, it is our job to be the more logical, the more masculine values, because
Yeah.
that's what we're on this earth to do.
Mhm.
We are more logical, more calculated, more in control of everything, so that women can be a little bit more free, a little bit more open with their emotions, etc. Because you can't have both. You can't have feminine men and feminine women. That book I've been reading lately has been talking a lot about everything in nature has to have a polarity. A north has to have a south. The sun sets, it has to rise as well.
Mhm.
Stuff like that, right?
What's the name of the book again?
So the name of the book is called The Way of the Superior Man. It's by David Dida. And
It looks like this here. It's right there.
Oh yeah.
Have my little personal
wait.
collection there.
Wait. Yeah, so we've got The Way of the Superior Man here.
Excellent book.
Mm.
And
If you're male.
it words
Or wanna
things a little
understand
bit
males.
strangely. It's for not even just males, it's for masculine people.
Mhm.
So masculine women as well, because I know in a lot of homosexual relationships, it acknowledges that as well. It says even in a homosexual relationship, if you have two women, one of them has to be more masculine, or there's not going to be any dynamicism, any polarity to it.
Have you guys never seen like
Yeah.
a masculine girl and a feminine dude?
Right, like you see it all the time.
Okay, I was just making sure.
No.
I wasn't tripping.
No,
Um,
I've seen that, yeah.
But so yeah, my whole thing is, I think that there's nothing wrong with some men being more feminine,
Mm-hmm.
but I personally hold the value that as men we should be the protectors. We should be the rock, because
Mhm.
that's what we are designed to be.
Right, it's like
biologically,
it's
that's
like-
what we are.
it's like what I was saying. Utilizing what you have
Right.
to the best.
So I mean,
You
the
can.
other aspect of it, like where honor plays in, is like, I would never cry in front of a room full of people I don't know. But if it was just y'all,
Mm-hmm.
if it's just people you are intimate with, then there's nothing wrong with lowering that front, because at the end of the day, I feel like any good army has to have a good home base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you have that strong defense where you are in total control to the public eye, then you have to have a strong foundation of people that support you and care about you, and you can break down in front of, because that's they help nurture your soul to a degree.
You know what's a good example? Will Smith. His like, okay, I'm gonna explain. So if you like think back to like before he was Will Smith the actor, he was a rapper first.
Yeah.
And then he went into acting. He's from Philly, so he's like complete 360. I just want to say because
Yeah.
Philly's like the
Yeah.
streets.
Yeah.
And he's like, some public nice guy. Well, he was. But if you like go back and you look, he's been through a lot, and I think his image would be better if the people around him didn't publicize that, and he would have had an easier time dealing with it. But I think it's crazy because the thing with his wife and how she
Yeah.
and it's like for her to make that public is like it's wild.
Wait, she made that public?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like his reaction to it and stuff, it is like
Yeah.
in his face with a camera, and it's like that. Like that's wild.
She just
bro.
tore down that wall.
Like that's wild. Like
Yeah.
No, you're joking.
and then
didn't
you
even
see
know that.
then you see what happened with Chris Rock. Like that's. I'm not going to justify it, but I
Yeah.
see where it comes from. He's like, come on, bro. Like
It's not without
you're
foundation.
quite literally destroying his
Yeah.
emotional like.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much like
Honor
yeah.
or respect anymore, even.
That's why
Um,
I kind of like took a step back because I don't want to get to a point where I feel like no one is respecting me, and then I flip to that polar opposite,
Yeah.
and now I'm like a red pill, sneako,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Sneak out.
So, I don't know. I want to be serious and the stone, but I gotta be me regardless. I'm not
Sure.
gonna fake it.
Yeah.
I'm a chill person. I don't really
Yeah.
care much about it, but like I want to be respected. You're not gonna disrespect me, so
Right.
I kind of gotta find that balance.
Right.
But the point I was making was Will Smith is a good example. He doesn't have that security of emotions. So now it's like he's out of whack.
Yeah.
It's like
That's true. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that.
I saw a really good clip of a woman on someone else's podcast, and she was talking about how her mother taught her from a very young age, no matter how angry you may get with a man or how upset you may be with him, there are certain lines that you shouldn't cross.
yeah.
If there's something dark from his past and he's at his lowest moment right now, then you should not kick him while he's down, because in some way that'll destroy him, right? If you like leak your private text between you and him or something like that, right? Like on the one hand, that will destroy him, and that's just wrong to do.
That's
It's just
it.
malicious. The other hand is, she said her mom taught her that in some way that will come back to bite you. Eventually, there's going to be something you have to pay for it, because you just destroyed that man's respect and his honor,
Yeah.
and that's something that you shouldn't do at all.
yeah.
I would say something I've been struggling with lately is, and granted, I'm still young. I haven't like experienced a lot of relationships, but in the past, because I'm a very open person, I had been very vulnerable with a girl. Like I told her a lot, and I have a specific type. I like a specific type of girl. I would say personality wise, I like that, like a girl that I kind of gotta put her in her place, or you know what I'm saying. She got like that spunk to her. You know what I'm saying? But it does come with you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Especially if you are, because I'm an emotional guy. If you are an emotional guy, they're gonna come at you, and
Yeah.
you gotta stay your ground.
Right. Yeah.
So I like lately it's been hard for me to be vulnerable with girls, or like to, you know what I'm saying, like to open up or tell them stuff about my past, because like, why would I do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why would I give you that, Kenan? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna give you the chance,
Well,
which is a bad way of looking at it, but it's just like
the way I look at it right now, at least with telling people things,
Mhm.
is I feel like we give girls, at least I did before, a fast pass into our lives if we like them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're like, oh, here, you're cute. All right, here's everything.
Okay.
Right?
Let's-
No, but all right, that's an exaggeration, way exaggeration. But still,
Mhm.
my point is, with you guys, for example, when I first met you, James, right, freshman year, we were not. I mean, I thought we were friends. We were not
We
friends.
weren't friends.
We weren't friends.
We weren't
Right.
friends.
But and similar, and over time, as we became closer, right now I feel like I could tell you anything, right? But with a girl, I think that same level of development should occur. You know what I mean? You need
Yeah.
to become close to them. It's like a friendship, and
Mhm.
then at a certain point,
Oh,
you
yeah.
choose to take the next step.
That's why I kind
And
of
I
realize.
At
Okay.
least at least people our age,
Mhm.
nobody recognizes that.
Mhm.
Because it's like, oh, I'm looking for a girl to be immediately just become my girlfriend, and
Yeah.
it's gonna become romantic immediately.
Yeah.
When that's not at all how it should be. And and just because you're friends with a girl, eventually it comes to the idea. Talking about whether a girl and a guy can be friends.
Yeah.
Because we discussed that. I think they can, because I've been thinking about this a little bit recently.
Yeah.
Right. At a certain point, when you're close enough with them, you choose whether you want to take that romantically, but you don't have to, because just like you can have a brotherly friendship with a guy,
Mhm.
right? You can have a sisterly friendship with a girl.
Mhm.
And I think that's not recognized. I mean, I wouldn't know, but this is just theory.
It's true.
I don't know. I feel like where I am with my life, I can't. And that's just me. I feel like with all of us, honestly, with where we are, if I enjoy a woman's company enough that I will choose time and time again to spend time with her, then I either already am or I will become attracted to her, because like to me that's part of what I look for in a partner, is someone that adds value to my life. So if you add value to my life, if I actively want to hang out with you, then yeah, I'm gonna start being more and more attracted to you, because you contribute something.
Well, I think that's where emotional control and maturity comes in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying,
And it's definitely like you become like you start to have a different reaction to the fire the longer you're in it.
yeah.
Cause like I'm around girls a lot now, so
Yeah.
it's like I kind of have like a different relationship with girls.
Yeah.
And that's mainly just because like I've been around them all the time for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of really don't have a choice but to have sister relationships.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
like this is whatever.
No, and people can add value to your life, but that doesn't mean you want to marry them.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's why I say that it's a maturity thing, because that's a weird example. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
Nah, sometimes there's examples that come up with my head, and then I realize that people listening to them,
Intrusive examples.
not intrusive examples. It's just they make sense to me, but just because they make sense to me doesn't
So
mean
let's
they make
think
sense
you're
to other
jumping
people.
off a bridge.
Yeah.
All right, no. But
Talking to your sister.
So like, I can be friends with a girl, and she can add X to me, right, to my life,
Sure.
right? X being whatever. When in reality, for someone I'm looking to marry, I want Y, right? So for me, I would the relationship would stay at a certain point.
But what if she adds Y? But
What if she
you-
adds Y? Well, then
but-
she adds Y, then it changes. Reconsider. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't have any experience in it, so I really couldn't answer your question.
Yeah.
Cause that's the other
Oh.
thing,
There are
zero experience. This is all just hard line theory.
Yeah.
With hard line theory, some experience sprinkled in.
Mm. There are some girls who like match my interest, but I have worked with them,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like I can't. That's it's just not a thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. I would say
Did you hear that?
I heard it.
My bad.
I would say the last situation that was weird.
Yeah.
Because I kind of was breaking my rules, and I had never been tested
Yeah.
on my rules before.
Yeah.
Well, of course I've been interested in girls in theater, but I never like pursued it. But for a girl to pursue me was like, okay, what do I do? This is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, I
like,
feel that.
yeah. It was weird. But yeah.
Strange time.
No, my thing is if a girl doesn't add bring anything to the table for me, like if she doesn't add anything to my life, if she's just another person that I would talk to, then I don't see any point in hanging out with them, right?
Right.
If they add value, to me at least, I don't know, maybe it's just my foolish perspective, but to me, if a girl adds value, but I don't see myself dating her, then I don't see any point in making an effort to continue that relationship, because you can learn from it, sure, but I don't think there's any reason to continue having that influence in your life when at the end of the day, to some degree, there's still going to be temptation there.
I don't know.
I guess,
Because,
but it comes back to self-control, and at the
I mean,
same
it's
time,
self-control, but I don't feel like it's worth it. It's just one more thing you have to. It's on your conscience, sort of.
I guess, but
I would rather
you
be
can-
around men.
Pause.
Like
Bro.
to me, being around women, like it fulfills something that men don't. But if I know that I'm not going to date any of the women that I'm hanging around, I don't see a point in hanging around them.
But you're
If
going
it's my choice, of course.
going back to your point about if they don't add anything to your life, right? Why would you hang around them? If they're just another person you talk to,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, you say the same thing about just anyone, right? Male or female, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
people at school that I talk to, and maybe they're funny, but that's the extent of the interaction, right?
Yeah.
They're just another person. Realistically, I'm not close friends. But I'm not friends with them.
Yeah.
Right, and it applies the same principle.
Sure.
So I just think that I don't know. You just don't want to deal with the extra responsibility
No.
that it puts on your self control.
I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, it's to me, it's just not worth the extra thought, because it's just one more thing I have to keep in mind.
Wait, have you ever been in a friend group before?
Yeah.
Like with
Isn't this a friend
Yeah.
group?
Well, no. Like
No.
Of friends.
like one of those like big ones with
Yeah,
like it'll be
yeah.
like 3 of us and then like 4 girls.
Yeah.
Oh, never
One
with
of those
girls.
Friend groups.
Never
You're
with girls.
lying.
Never. No.
You're lying.
not lying.
You're
I'm
lying.
not.
We were in the group chat together.
I'm dead ass, bro.
We were in the group chat together.
Oh my god! I deleted that memory freshman year, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my bad.
Is it with
But, Fool's Gold and
Oh, Fool's
and
Gold.
Bro.
the
That's
other
all you had
one,
to say.
the
That's all
other-
you had
the Fool's Gold best friend.
No, I forgot
were a
about
friend
that.
group?
It's the only time. It's the only time I've ever been in a friend group.
And Mason as well, yeah.
But
I
is
think,
that
we
not-
had Taylor as well, didn't we?
Does
Yeah,
that not,
Taylor,
like-
Allen.
Alan. God, I miss that man. Whatever happened to him?
He hated me because of my views on Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but where'd he go?
I don't know. The last time I've seen him was oh my god, it was AP World exam, the end of sophomore year.
Yeah.
Did you guys post the black square?
What?
No,
No.
I did.
I thought that was dumb.
Well, you're black. Like
That's
I don't
different.
have to say it, but like
Oh no, but that's like your "I'm not racist" card.
No, that's
no,
dumb, bro.
I thought it was
think-
racist to post.
You thought it was racist to post?
It goes back to the same thing we are talking about with the scholarships for me. Where
But it's
like
just-
so okay, all right.
It was
My thing. I don't want to. Probably shouldn't go very far down this rabbit hole.
Yeah,
My
man.
thing was
No, I like it.
You like it?
if you
Like controversy.
I still think Black Lives Matter to me is offensive, because I don't think people should matter even though they're black. I think people should matter because you're people. So I was an all lives matter guy, because I don't want to say you're black and you matter. I just want to say, yep, you're a human, you matter.
Pause. The problem is not the way you're thinking, but the problem is the way that the people that established the statement were thinking. Now, yes, Black Lives Matter was bad because it's just more separation, and you're disconnecting the people,
Yeah.
which we are the people, you know? The problem with All Lives Matter was because it was supposed to oppose of Black Lives Matter, and when you say it like the way I just said it, it
Yeah.
sounds really bad.
Yeah.
And I think some people really had bad intentions with it, but a lot of people like yourself, had good intentions and weren't thinking in that way.
Yeah.
But it's just, you don't want to be grouped in with that.
It's the same thing that happened with the political parties and whatnot.
Mhm.
With like, you say you're a Republican and you may be a relatively independent Republican, but because you say you're a Republican, you get grouped in with all the, all the radicals.
Yeah.
That's
like why the losers. Never mind. We're talking about next episode.
Yeah.
But no. So I mean, like, I don't know. My thing with Black Lives Matter, like, I couldn't bring myself to say all Black Lives Matter because that felt more racist to me than just saying all lives matter.
Yeah.
Like, of course you matter. Are you alive? Okay, then. Instead of saying you're black, so yeah, you matter.
I just don't understand, like, what the downside to all of us being, like, if everybody was cool and everybody was family, what's the downside?
Yeah, me personally, I don't understand the point of racism.
I don't see it.
Why are people racist?
Like, why do we not work together?
No,
It's a joke, but like,
no, I get it. It's funny, the racial stereotypes, because I heard some racist stereotypes before. Like black people are lazy or Hispanic people are, forget what the stereotype is. But anyway, it's just funny to me how all the other like groups, I guess, except for Asians, they don't say anything about Asians because Asians are like generally
Black
successful.
people are lazy.
But I've heard that, right, about a lot of racial groups, they'll say like they're lazy or whatever, but then like, for example, Jews, they'll get mad at them for being too hardworking. You're too successful. No, no, but you can't be that lazy.
Jews
But you
and
can't
Asian.
be that hardworking.
too rich and too successful.
It's like when people are like,
Yeah.
people are like, look at this bum with straight F's. But then when someone gets straight A's, they're like, look at this tryhard.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what do you want me
yeah.
to do?
For
Yeah,
real.
no.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
looking to put down people. It's looking to
Finding
put
some way to
people-
make yourself feel better.
Yeah, it's trying to put yourself on a pedestal,
Yeah.
which again comes back to ego.
Don't do that, y'all.
Lack
it.
of self-control.
That's a huge thing in
Do
theater.
better.
I feel like I only went through it for like a couple weeks because like I stopped to care.
Yeah.
But it was like once I started to get better, I don't like to flex. Like, I don't know if y'all ever noticed, but like a lot of the times I'll walk like away from people to do my push-ups, or like I'll go somewhere where people aren't to do my push-ups because like I don't like to flex. I don't think it's cool. It makes you look stupid.
Exception is drafting.
So like I don't know what that means. What'd you say?
Because in fifth period, we just get down on the ground. We just do push-ups in the middle of
Oh
class.
no, bro. Those are like, I don't care, bro. Those are randoms. I don't care.
Yeah, those people
Yeah.
don't pay attention. Do they?
Extras.
In third period,
Yeah,
in
they're
third period
extras.
too. I don't care.
So basically, just the whole school.
But it's just like, yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say, when I started to get better in theater, it was like I didn't want to be that kid that's like, I don't know. Like there's this not a stereotype, but there's this like specific type of theater kid that tries really hard on everything, and like you just look bad.
Yeah.
It's like a bad look that comes with it, but I think it's stupid because you should try your hardest. You should,
Sure.
because like, how else would you get the role? How else would they know what you're capable of if you didn't try?
But I don't think trying your hardest should be a flex.
I don't think you should try to demean people for not trying as hard as you do.
I don't feel like you should display, like, advertise how hard you try.
Yeah, advertise. Yeah,
Because like you should be trying that hard.
It should
That's
be
what
for you.
Comes with something you enjoy doing. Like, yeah, you should be trying to be the best because that's how you become the best. Like, it's like, no one, you never asked like someone that looks like Arnold or The Rock or whatever, like some bodybuilder, right? Be like, damn, how do you get so big? They're never like, oh, I don't know, it just happened one day. Like they that's what they wanted. They tried to do that. It doesn't happen by accident. So like, you shouldn't flaunt it, but there's nothing wrong with trying that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be for you, and it's a symbol of how much you, I want to say, respect yourself, or how much work you put into yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So then when people ask about it, or when people, I guess, inquire about it, it should be more about encouraging them, like telling them in a sort of almost encouraging way, like you can also get to the same level in
Mhm.
this or in whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
right? Because it's about how much you want it and how much you're gonna put into it.
Mhm.
But anyway, can we get a time check?
Yeah, we're coming up on the end. Real quick, I want to cover my ass because I didn't get to quite finish up.
Cover your ass.
It's not that I don't not see the value in women. All right, that's not what I was saying at all.
Oh, you're going way back.
Yeah. So my point was
Yeah, I never got it.
with
I
like
missed it.
so with men, if you add value in my life, then sure, I'll I enjoy being around that. If of course with men or women, if you don't add value in my life, then whatever, fuck off. And it's not like I'm just using people, but like at a certain point you have to say like you don't contribute anything to my life. Why do I have you around? You know.
But it's
so
like,
so
sorry.
with women, like if a woman adds something to my life that no one else does, I would still rather not hang around her simply because it's just not worth the effort. Because at the end of the day, I'm a teenage guy, right? Men are men, right? So at the end of the day, some level of my brain is going to want to be attracted to her. So at this point in my life, I don't think it's worth it to have to constantly keep myself in check like that because I'm hanging around women. While yes, they add value that no one else men won't. To me, I'm not at a point where I can enjoy that without I can't enjoy that without it seriously taxing on my mind because I'm constantly trying to keep myself in check. You know, it's like let's say overeating, right? You might say I'm just going to cut out carbs entirely because I have it takes a lot of effort for me to regulate my carbs. You know, to say I'm only going to eat 50 carbs a day, that takes a lot of effort. So it's a whole lot easier to just say I'm not going to eat carbs at all. So like,
it's not better for you though.
It's not better.
It's lazy.
It's not
I think
lazy. It's just not to me. That's not something that I need in my life right now.
Okay, you're just not focusing on it right now.
Yeah.
actually, I understand what you're saying. I think the way you're saying it is just coming off very
I'm sure it is. I'm sure I'm gonna
Like,
get flamed for it.
because now that I think about it, I feel like I'm the same way. But it's like if I'm given the choice, I'm not gonna. My bad. If I'm given the choice, I'm not gonna actively make the choice. Like, if I have a friend that's a dude, for example,
Sure.
and I know he played basketball, I'm like, yo, you trying to go hoop?
Yeah.
But if I know, like, if I have a friend that's a girl and I know she played like Apex, I'm not gonna ask her to play Apex
right.
because, like, you know, like that's
Yeah.
just wild in my head. That's just wild. Like,
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from. I think that's why I brought up the point of community the other day,
Yeah.
because I think if you guys were in a how do I say it, a mixed community, like with a lot of variety of
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
you'd get more social interactions and you'd understand more.
That is something I should mention. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
group setting is totally different.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm in a youth group, for example, that's half men, half women, I have no issue with that. That's not an issue at all. I'm talking about like one-on-one, like personal connection type shit. Because like group settings are awesome with people that you're close with. You know.
Yeah, one-on-one, it's crazy.
But yeah, like I would I would
understand
never
that.
go one-on-one with a woman as a friend.
Yeah, that's
Because
wild.
it's just like why would you do that to yourself? At the end of the day, you have to acknowledge to some degree like you're a
It'll be-
teenage boy.
it'll be
You're
challenging,
going
yeah.
to be interested if you do that often enough. It's near inevitable
Mhm.
at our age and our maturity. So and because we're not married, that's partially what we're supposed to be doing. You know, up until we marry somebody, we're in a committed relationship.
Mhm.
Part of us should be thinking about that. It's near biologically ingrained in us because that's how you reproduce.
But even once you are married, it's like that's still odd to be hanging out with
Yeah,
girls.
like how much?
one-on-one.
Let's think about it.
Okay.
How
if I'm
many
married, no,
female
it's
friends
different.
does your dad hang out with one-on-one?
None.
Exactly.
0.
It's just because like my thing is like, sure, you could be fine. It's just not worth it. What's the point? You couldn't really find anything
It
that
depends-
woman has to offer in a man.
It depends. It depends on the relationship, of course. Because if you grew up with a girl, like if y'all grew up around each other and y'all have that brother sister relationship,
Yeah. It's
and it's
different.
like you talk to her about girls that you,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it definitely depends.
I have a really hard time with that one, like the brother sister thing, because I've never experienced that really. I understand intellectually where that comes from.
Yeah.
I just like on an emotional level, I have a really hard time agreeing with that because it's the same thing. Like, I don't know. To me, I just have a hard time with that one.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, I'm not a misogynist. I want to clarify.
I am.
I'm a feminist. I love women.
Yeah.
Misogyny.
Stand up for your values.
Standing
I
up
don't
for
think
women.
that's something you should say on YouTube.
Standing up for women.
Nah, bro, you're gonna get canceled for real. Anyway, on that, I think that's a great note to end on.
I mean, I think we're all feminists, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Wouldn't
course.
you say you all love
It's on my
women?
laptop. Proud feminist.
Did it actually?
Have you seen it? It's not my laptop. It's my mom's.
Okay, I was gonna say. No, yeah, of
Um,
course. I think
Women are
women-
great. Women could do things that men never could.
Listen, that
Yeah,
is a
we
true
talked about it a little bit
statement.
last episode.
dude, I genuinely view them as equals because I think it's ridiculous not to.
Yeah.
I think it's also it takes a lot of pigheadedness
Yeah.
to
For real,
avoid
yeah.
looking at that
Yeah.
because I could just go into it for a
Yeah.
while. But anyway,
I love you, women.
Don't hate women. It's bad for the environment.
It's bad for
Increases
Women, don't
carbon.
hate me,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
please.
All right. Anyway,
So yeah, hopefully this has been a little bit more enjoyable for y'all. We're gonna
Smiley's
start getting a
voice
little bit
right
more structured, a little bit more insightful. Hopefully. So yeah, hopefully y'all will settle into a better groove.
remember at the beginning, leave likes, comments.
Definitely
Please
leave
comment.
likes. If you hate it, leave a like. If you
Watch
love
it
it,
with
leave
your
a
And
like.
grandma.
also, if you want us to respond to your comment, please talk
And
to
yeah,
us.
we'll
Don't like say something about us. You know, we will. We love to respond to people who are asking us questions or anything like that.
Oh no, talk trash.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to be good or bad. If you think it's bad, dislike
Yeah.
the video and leave a comment, please.
Because that's
I'd love
what's
to
gonna
hear it.
push our minds to grow when
That's
you
how
question
we
what
grow.
we say.
Right? Yeah, I
So,
think
go
it's
ahead,
important. So
So yeah,
Oh,
I think it'd be pretty hypocritical if we did the
drop
opposite.
a comment if you like it. You want to see more. Subscribe if you hate us and you want to see what we're gonna be wrong about. Subscribe.
Dislike it, subscribe, comment.
Yeah, give us
Yeah.
some like something. Definitely leave a comment though. We'd love to talk with y'all. So
Anyway,
yeah,
make sure you listen to this with all the women in your life
all the women in your life.
and the black people.
Not too many. Not your girl.
No.
You see the fit.
All right, y'all.
All the people in your life. They should all see this.
Definitely, yeah.
Watch it with your grandma, your uncle.
Not the weird uncle though. The other one.
Not the weird uncle.
No.
Yeah, he's really the only one.
Yeah.
So,
Unless, never mind.
He can get rehab, right? He can get rehab.
Yeah, we need
Yeah,
to
he can
rehabilitate.
get rehab,
not,
yeah.
not in prison.
How do you do rehab? Never mind. All right. We're done.
Yeah.
I say race. I just might erase, bro. Face one, face two. Either way, I'ma face hoes. My niggas bless us and you know we getting paid. So my niggas bless us and you know that we gon' face those race.